Hello class 10. Let us continue with our lesson. Now we are going to learn about the history of clothes and dressings. Now clothes and dressing, history of clothes and dressings tell us about the different kinds of styles, fashion that developed during the different times and in different areas. History of clothes tell us about the tastes and choices, then comfort and the areas where those kinds of clothes are being used. Now, wearing clothes depends upon the climatic condition of an area. Also, it depends upon the people's choices and their comforts. It depends. It tells about the current fashion, the styles that are in practice at that moment. So, clothing depends upon the areas and the choices and the climatic conditions. Like different areas have different kinds of clothes. Like in our country, in Bengal, we usually wear the saris and dhoti, Punjabi, that kurta, that is Punjabi, dhuti Punjabi, and shari for the women. But right now the trend has changed. People are wearing more Western clothes nowadays. In northern India, basically in Punjab, Chandigarh, there the lungi and kurta along for the men, and for women it is salwar kameez. So whichever clothes people are comfortable in, people choose to wear that. Now in Kashmir, where it is cold, people are comfortable in wearing woolen clothes, whereas in Rajasthan, where it is very hot during the daytime, people are very much comfortable in wearing the cotton clothes. So it depends upon area to area, it depends upon the people's choices, it depends upon the people's comfort, and also it depends upon the current fashion trends. So in our country, we come to know about the dressing sense right from the Harappan civilization. When we observe the figurines, we do not have the written evidences, but when we observe the figurines that had been unearthed from different places, we find that they also used to wear basically there were two clothings for both men and women. The undergarment, that is the dhoti kind of thing, and shawl type of garment to cover the upper part of the bodies. And in the Vedic literature also we get the knowledge about the clothing of that time, and gradually the evolution in the clothing had occurred, and in our country the westernized clothes had come from the Europeans, and Michael Madhusudan Datta was the first Indian to wear the Western clothes in our country. The modern way of wearing sari, that is the Brahmika style, was generated from the women of Tagore family. So these are the knowledges that we learn from studying the history of clothes and dressings. It also helps us to learn about the different cultures, socio-religious customs and economic conditions of a particular area. Next we move on to history of transport and communication. Now, there are three modes of transports: land transport, water transport, and air transport. Now, the history of transport and communication helps us to learn about the evolution, the development of these modes of transport, and also the importance of these changes. In ancient time, we come across the Mangal Kavyas, the literary sources. They are the Mangal Kavyas and other literary sources. From there we learn that in ancient India, people basically used the boats on the rivers, and the palanquins, the horse-driven carriages or bullock carts. All these things were used as mode of transportation by the people. But when the steam power and the electricity was invented, so the mode of transportation also changed, and obviously that had occurred in Europe, and from there it had come to our country. In our country, the horse-driven tram was first introduced in Calcutta, which ran from Esplanade to Khidirpur in 1880s. And in 1902, the electric tram was introduced in Calcutta. Similarly, the railways was first introduced in Maharashtra in 1854. The first railway line was laid between Bombay and Thane. So these developments had occurred gradually, basically during the British rule in our country, and the mode of communication had also changed. We know that the ancient times people used the pigeons to send the letters from one place to another. Then in the medieval age, when it gradually occurred, that horseback postal system was introduced. Then the Dak Harkara, or the postman used to carry the post from one place to another on foot also. So these were the modes of communication to carry the letters. Basically, the letters were exchanged from place to place in this way. But gradually, with the invention of electromagnetic theory by Michael Faraday and wireless by Morse, and then the radio waves based on the electromagnetic theory, Marconi and Jagadish Chandra Bose's invention on the radio communication, telegraph, Graham Bell's telephone. So all these had changed the mode of communication also. So right now, at present times, we are very much familiar with the news media, the print media, as well as the electronic media, the internet, the emails. So all these are the modes of communications, and we learn about them by studying the history of communication, how it had changed from ancient to medieval and to the present modern times.